RedZoneSports.Bet, the British home of American sports.
Hi boys and girls, welcome to the Sports Heads. We're in the studios of RedZoneSports.Bet and I'm pleased to say we're going to be going through the hurry up, 5 questions, 5 minutes and plenty of views on the subjects as well. I'm pleased to be joined by Warren Llambias, who's the co-founder of RedZoneSports.com, and Tom Like from InsideZone.com. Welcome gents. Let's start the clock on the first question. Who's been the best change at quarterback this year?
This is my man crush. It's Case Keenum. He wasn't planned to come in. He's come in. I'm all aboard Case Keenum. What he has done is purely sensational. It's just fantastic the way he's galvanised the team. He's kept the job. He's kept Teddy Bridgewater as an afterthought. I love Case Keenum. I want him to go all the way.
Tom. For me, it's got to be Deshaun Watson, the Houston Texans. You look at what happened when Watson was installed in the lineup. All of a sudden, they were an AFC juggernaut. We were saying, are they going to challenge the Patriots to the championship game? And now they've disappeared into oblivion in the South. I mean, he opened up the whole offense with Nuke, Hopkins, Will Fuller, Lamar Miller, and the defense was rejuvenated. And just the fact that the level of play, the fall off between him and Savage.
I do agree. I just don't think you can judge him on, was it 3 or 4 games that he played? That's the difference. And I think, you know, Case Keenum has been consistent throughout. You're going to pick someone bizarre like, I don't know,
Eli Manning replacing Geno Smith. It's
Yes.
a bit like Dan Marino. Sort of replacing Cleo Lemon or John Beck.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm going. Eli Manning, obviously, back this weekend. Philadelphia Eagles fell to Seattle last week. Do the Eagles still make the Super Bowl?
well, I mean, whether they make the Super Bowl or not, I still think they're quite rightfully the second favourites at 11-2. So, for me, they played well against Seattle, and had they not fumbled the ball, like I said in one of the other shows, I think that would have been a different momentum game, momentum going into the game, and could have come with a different result. I still think the Eagles have got every chance going. They're second favourites, quite rightly. They're the favourites for the NFC. I still think they probably don't want to be playing Seattle again in the playoffs. Myself,
Tom.
I don't like the matchups between them if they draw the Seahawks, the Saints, or the Rams. I don't think they match up well, and I'm not sure why, but I've got this niggling feeling that last year's Dallas Cowboys, all high flying, and then it's one and done in the playoffs. I'm not too sure there.
Played 2 teams with a winning record. They're 1-1 against them. Carolina and Seattle. I think Minnesota are obviously the #1 seeds. They're the team to beat. They set the tone every week with that defense. So they've done a good job. They lost Mike Remmers. They lost Dalvin Cook. They lost Sam Bradford. So Case Keenum. I'm on the Case Keenum train with you.
and what does defense do? It wins championships, and they got the best one there.
They've also had the 4th toughest schedule as well. So that shows you
away game. It's unbelievable.
LA Rams have been the surprise to this season, I would suggest. Who's going to be your surprise team next year? Tom, let's start with you.
For me, it's going to be the 49ers with Kyle Shanahan. If you're looking at it in terms of the record they got this year, what they get next year, he's finally going to have Jimmy Garoppolo for an off-season. They've got a lot of talent on defense. Solomon Thomas is a good pick, so is Reuben Foster. Got DeForest Buckner, Amik Armstead, a few other players back there in the secondary. And they've got the top amount of cash to spend in free agency, so John Lynch can go mental and just splash cash and get a load of veterans in to help prop up that offense for Garoppolo.
There's not much more to say. San Francisco 49ers was my pick. I think you've just copied me, Tom. It's absolutely outrageous.
Written down here, that's okay.
Absolutely outrageous. I agree. I think the Giants as well will bounce back next season. And we were talking before about them maybe being Super Bowl contenders this year, and they weren't. I think give them a half decent head coach. Even if they bring in a young rookie quarterback underneath Eli Manning, I still think they'll have a high draft pick, and I think they'll bounce back next year and be relevant.
Trends tell me that Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be the ones to bounce back next year. Let's look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've lost 4 games by 6 points or less. Jameis Winston's had a shoulder issue. They've just got to draft a decent running back. I mean, I'm looking at somebody like LSU's Stanford's Bryce Love, or LSU's Darius Grice in the 2nd or 3rd round. If they get a good running back, the defense is going to be a lot better anyway. That's the kicking game's got to improve, but I think they've been close.
That will be a proper surprise if it's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then we'll both owe them a drink.
Don't hold me to it. NFC wildcard spots. Name your teams and tell me why.
Seattle and Carolina. I thought Seattle looked a little, even though I've said that I thought the Eagles played well, I think they look like a team reborn. I think Carolina, I don't like them this weekend, I don't think, but I still think they've got enough about them to hold on. I think Detroit are one of the teams chasing, but I just don't think Detroit have enough about them, even though I love Matt Stafford, so I'm going for Seattle and Carolina.
It's going to be consensus for me as well. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm going to have the Seahawks and the Panthers, and for me, the Cowboys are 1 game back, the Falcons 2 game back. It comes down to schedule.
I'm just going to move this. You keep copying me, Tom.
Falcons and the Cowboys, they've got a much harder schedule, much harder match for the last 4 games. And while I think Atlanta may have the best roster in the NFL, they're not getting the production out of the talent there.
They've got the Saints twice, Atlanta, and they've got the Bucks as well. And then I think it's going to be a winner-take-all clash in Week 17 against Carolina. But they've had a really tough schedule, Atlanta, but they are still there. And like you say, they have the talented roster. They've been there, they've done it. They are in playoff mode now.
And you wouldn't begrudge them if they got back after the heartbreak loss of last year.
I think the Panthers facing the Vikings this weekend, that's a pivotal game for them. You know, they can beat the Bucks and the Packers, so they've got 2 pretty easy games. So it will come down to that last game for me. I'm going to take, I think the Seahawks still got to play the Cowboys, they've still got to play the Rams and the Cardinals, and they've got to face Jaguars. So I'm going to say the Seahawks miss out. I'm going with Atlanta and the Panthers.
Wow, brave shout.
Last question, a bit of a surprise for me. Hugh Jackson is staying at Cincinnati as head coach. Surprise for you?
Absolutely. It's absolutely unbelievable that he's kept his job. I mean, they might as well just, they're going to get Ben McAdoo to come and do the offensive coordinator. I don't know what is going on. They got rid of the GM, and you know that I agree with. But he's won 1 game in 28. You know, I think he's like, I know I talk everything about gambling. He's like a scarred gambler. You know, he's had so many bad beats in the game that I think it's affecting his play calling. I think it's just he's a dead man walking. I think they should have gone out. They should have get someone like Mike Smith, who's a safe pair of hands, go in and take that over.
Tom?
I think the Browns are better than a 0-win roster, and I think Sashi Brown has given Hugh Jackson the weapons to win games. It's just, it should be on the coaching staff. They haven't performed, they haven't got the most out of their talent there, and I think that I'm surprised that they've got all this capital and the draft capital to use this year. Why are you not going to keep continuity there with the guy who's been scouting these players for the last 3 years? You've now got a whole new regime coming in there. And this is an interesting one, but I've heard reports that apparently their Bengals might trade for Hugh Jackson, so maybe are the Browns holding on to their chips there to try and trade some capital?
Someone's going to trade for Hugh. I mean, I know he was good at.
I've seen that out there. That is a lot of reports.
Wow,
out there,
because if it's Marvin Lewis's last, you know, they say pressure on Marvin Lewis, and that you're going to trade for Hugh Jackson is like sort of. That's like placing Eli Manning with Geno Smith. Do you know what I mean? That's crazy.
Well, that's it for the hurry up for another week. Tom Light from InsideZone.com. Thank you very much indeed for your company again. Great insight as always. Warren Llambias from RedZoneSports.Bet, the co-founder.
Not great insight?
Great insight. Always
Okay,
great insight. I thought we went without saying. We've sort of hurried up. We'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Here at Red Zone, we have a soft spot for American sports, especially NFL. It's as American as cheerleading. Unfortunately, when it comes to betting on gridiron, there is very little choice between bookmakers. That's because almost all bookmakers get their odds from Las Vegas. And we all know what happens in Vegas should stay in Vegas, especially their nasty odds. So we're stripping back to basics, creating our own odds, giving you lucky punters the very best of British bookmaking for American sports. Would you like to see some more? RedZoneSports.Bet, the British home of American sports.